Hello team, Mark Scuderi here. Oftentimes I'm asked, Mark, what is the one thing I could do today to help grow and evolve my business tomorrow? And when I'm asked this question, there's one thing that comes to mind. So I wanted to share it with each and every one of you today. The story is called the $25,000 idea. And it goes all the way back to the 1920s, a gentleman named Ivy Lee. Now, Ivy Lee was an efficiency expert. And he was calling on a company, a mid-sized company, and was able to secure a meeting with the president of the company. And it was towards the end of the business day, and he went to the office and he began giving his speech. And 2 minutes into it, the president of the company stopped him and he said, Mr. Lee, he says, we know exactly what we have to do here, but if you could find a way for us to be more efficient and more productive, I will pay you any sum of money for that privilege. And Mr. Lee says, well, I thank you for the opportunity, and would you do me a favor and take out a piece of paper? So the president took out a piece of paper, and Mr. Lee asked him, on that piece of paper, would you write down the 6 most important things that you have to accomplish tomorrow? Now, like I mentioned, this was at the end of the business day. So the president took about 2 minutes, and he wrote down the 6 most important things he needed to accomplish the following business day. When he was done with that, Mr. Lee asked him to prioritize that list, number 1 through 6, 1 being the most important, 6 being the least important of that list. The president took another minute and he wrote down that list. Mr. Lee then thanked him for his time and the meeting ended. As the story goes, a couple months later, Mr. Lee received a letter in the mail from the president of this company. Inside that letter was a check for $25,000, an awesome sum of money back then. The letter went on to explain that that was the most efficient business advice that the president has ever received, and that has grown and production of the company in significant ways. The thank you letter was signed Charles Schwab. Now, it sounds like a simple idea, but it's one that's overlooked. Most simple ideas are. So my training tip for this week is a simple one. Write out before you go to bed or before you leave the office today the 6 most important things you have to accomplish tomorrow. Prioritize that list 1 through 6. And when you get up and you begin your workday, start with number 1. And work on number 1 until number 1 is finished. When you're done, work on number 2. And continue to work on number 2 until number 2 is finished. Don't go back to number 1 and don't think ahead to number 3 or 4. Work on number 2. When you're done with that, cross it out. This way, when something happens, should something happen and interrupt your day, you would at least gotten the most important things done for the day. And when your little emergency or little hiccup comes through the day and you can get through that, you can get right back to your list and work on 3 through 6. Sometimes your list will have only 2 items. Sometimes your list may have 10 or 12 items. Depends on what's going on. But if you take my advice and you do that every single day, I can promise you, you'll see significant results in your business, significant increase in productivity, and more sales. So I hope you enjoyed this week's training tip. We're going to get this out to you once a week. Have a great day and be unstoppable.